Alright, today I'm at the blacksmith shop. I'm just going to do a little demonstration on, I don't know, make a fire poker or something. So, this is the blacksmith shop here. My grandfather built this many years ago when my grandmother was dying from cancer. You can see we have a nice post vise here. The anvil's here. And this is a Buffalo Forge bellows. And the way this works is there's a fire pot here. So in the bottom of this, when you're burning coal, if you know anything about burning coal, you get these, the coal will kind of solidify after it's done being burned, and it solidifies like that, called a clinker. It's like some sort of weird moon rock looking thing. But this handle right here, if I move this handle back and forth, there's a clinker breaker that's designed to break that up. But today we're using the charcoal that I made. So the way this works is when I hand crank this, you can see the air blowing through there? That sucks the air in through this side of the bellows, down through the tube, and then across here, up into the fire pot. So when your ash is burned out in the top up here, it will fall down in here, so you just release this to dump it out. So, all right, we'll get set up. Today I'm using the charcoal that I made in a previous video, so we'll get it going. The top of this building is open along the eaves, and obviously it's open on the side, so everything will be fine. Some wood shaving, and this is probably enough. And then we'll grab, see this charcoal that I had made in the retort. This is what it looks like now. So I'm just going to put this right on top. So what I'm doing is I'm basically just hand cranking to get the fire going, so that it's really ripping, and you can hear it roaring. But I don't want to start blacksmithing yet because it's pretty easy to knock this fire apart, and it wouldn't necessarily go out, but it would knock it apart, which makes it a lot harder to get back. See, it's now, I could actually start smithing right now. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. So now, if I just let go of the bellows, you'll see it die down very quickly and just smolder. And that's perfectly fine. If you're using charcoal, you got to babysit it a little bit more, because even though it's charcoal, it does have a tendency to burn out a little easier. So very easily, very easy. I will put a piece in there. I'm just going to take this piece right here. See this piece? All right, I'm holding my hand on it right now. All right, so I'll show you how quickly it goes from that to red hot heat. Again, I'm not cranking very hard. Just cranking at a consistent speed on the bellows. Alright, so I'm not sure how long that took, maybe 30 seconds. You can see that's a nice yellow heat. I'm going to bring it back up to there, and then I'm going to do some forging over here. Again, this is the charcoal that I made at home in that little charcoal retort, and I made it primarily for this purpose right here. Just this couple needs to be forged. All right. So the first thing you do is establish a square. I'm gonna knock this down, turn 90, knock it back down, back 90 degrees. And what I'm doing is just establishing a square point. The reason why I'm on the center anvil is I don't need to do half on, half off blows. I'm just doing the center of the anvil to draw that down to a taper. So in blacksmithing, tapers are key. So if you see, I've drawn that down into a nice taper. So I'm going to go a little bit more with the heat. Okay, now I'm ready to draw it down into more of a taper. Find the flat, knock it down this way, and back. I'm just keep knocking it down, just drawing out a taper. Alright, you see the taper now. I've drawn that steel out. So now we're going to keep going. I'm going to go a little bit more. Nice long taper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this and I'm going to knock down the corners to make this round. So when I put this in there, I'm not putting it down to the bottom. If I put this down to the bottom, it's just going to blow cold air across it. So what you got to do is poke down to the bottom and then lift it up a little bit. And as you lift it up, you'll see where the end of it is now in the white part of the coals, about halfway down in the fire pot. So you just now I got most of the corners knocked off. It's called planishing. I'm just going to make sure that I get it cleaned up. So I'm just going to planish the whole thing. Just to make sure that it looks like a nice round, long taper. Now you can see it's a nice round taper versus the square taper that I had before. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this. This is called the Hardy tool. H-A-R-D-Y. This is a Hardy tool. This goes in the Hardy hole. This hole is called the Pritchel. P-R-I-T-C-H-E-L. Pritchel, or 2 L's. This is the Hardy, this is the Pritchel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is after I get this heat, I'm going to take this part of the point and I'm going to slice through almost completely through, and then I'm going to fold this piece back. I'll show you that. The objective is cut almost all the way through it, but not completely. So you turn it a little bit so that it's not just one cut all the way through. It's like cutting around it, kind of. So as I cut this almost completely through, what I will do is fold it back onto itself like this, and like that, while it's still hot. If I tried to do this when it was cold, there's no doubt that that would break. So now I have this folded so that you can see it's like that. And then I'm going to heat this. I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to pound it. I'm going to kind of squeeze this together. All right, so now I got it like that. Bring it over here. I'm gonna knock this back into itself. You can see like that. Here like this. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna forge weld those two pieces together. So this piece over here to this piece over here, right in that little crotch area right there. So I'm going to forge this and this together. The way you do that is you get this up to a nice heat, which it's already it's still at a good heat, and this is just borax, regular cleaning solution borax. So if I put this on here, you see it bubble, and what that does, that keeps the oxygen out of the joint where it's going to forge weld together, which will lead to a strong joint. Here we go. So I have to bring this up to a critical temperature, which in the blacksmithing world is a white heat. And if I keep going, I could actually get this so hot that it turns into a sparkler, like what you used to play with it. We don't want it that hot because it will burn the steel right off, and it'll be no good. So it's almost ready for the forge weld. Pretty close. So that should be pretty good. So the initial forge weld is just to stick the pieces together. I just want them to stick together, and then I'll add some more borax on here, like that, kind of like that. Add a little more flux to this. Isn't that amazing? That's an amazing heat right there. You see all those sparks fly out of there? That's from the inside of the actual joint, pushing out all the impurities for the steel. So now I'm just going to draw this out into a taper. I have enough heat left in it. I'm going to use the heat. So there are a lot of people that will only forge on the anvil up here. It draws it out a lot faster, but like I said before, it's for demonstration. Kind of give you an idea. So what I'm doing is just straightening it. Pretty good. See, I'm going to draw that. I'm going to draw this end back out a little bit better. You put air to charcoal, it burns very quickly. Like coal, I would probably only have to add coal one time so far. And we've been going for 30 minutes, so coal will last a lot longer than charcoal. Basically, I'm just drawing down this paper with a little bit more of a point. Let's move it back. I can straighten that out. Pretty good. Okay, so there is no doubt in my mind that this is completely welded together. This section right here is completely welded together, no doubt. Because you can see there's no seam there at all. And it has been welded together perfectly fine. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cool this off. I'll cool this off, and I'm going to make the handle on the other end. And just like that, I have a fire poker that I made out of just a piece of round rod. You can see I put the handle, this is still warm, but I made the handle, I just kind of looped it around. You can see, I looped it around like that, and then the other end is the fire poker. I know that window being so bright. Let's try to put that over here. Is that a little better? All right, so now you can see the poker end and the handle end. And it's pretty straight, but not exactly straight, and I will straighten it up before it's ready to go. So that's it, fire poker. This is about 32 inches long now, so give or take. So that's me and my little blacksmith shop adventures. I wish I had more time to do it, but I don't. So and there it is. See? There's the handle. There's the poker end. All right. Later.